But Ekta Kapoor, why not? She's a lovely woman. I mean, she's a great producer. We keep fighting. We keep having our huge things that happen on every project.
You know, the era that we had right up to almost 2016. Super successful films, great songs. But I think, you know, I would definitely want to do something in that same light. It needs to be there in a new kind of mold.
I feel as far as entertainment industry is concerned, you only think of everybody as कि अच्छा यहाँ पे गंदा ही काम हो रहा होगा, यहाँ पे सिर्फ बुरे लोग हैं.
Who are senior to me. I've worked with Ajay in almost 3-4 films, and there was never an issue. I mean, in scenes he was like 2 dialogue le le. It was like that. I mean, the same with Akshay. I mean, I'm taking these names because they're senior to me. Even for that matter, Salman.
Listen, it's a 15-minute part, but I need somebody who can act.
Yeah.
Can you do it for me? So I think it was a no-brainer situation for me.
Hello everyone, this is Hesha Chimah and it's Showtime here on India Today because I'm in conversation with Emraan Hashmi, Rajeev Khandelwal and Mahima Makwana. Hello everybody.
Hi.
So the privilege of my job is that I get to see the show. So I've seen all 4 episodes and I have to say I was hooked because I'm a part of the industry as well, in a way or another.
Nice.
And there's something that actually got stuck with me, the particular line which I want to start off this conversation with, getting individual perspectives on what this line means to you all, which is cinema dhanda nahi dharm hai.
Yeah.
How true is it for you guys as actors?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both actually. That's one person's perspective in the show, I think, but it's a bit of both. I don't think we'll ever do anything for free. It is dhanda. But at the same time, it's also a sense of belonging, a sense of communion. It's a kind of a religion because, you know, this is probably what we do. There's a strong sense of identity that we get from films. And yeah, it's kind of a religion also.
What about you, Mahima? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mix of both. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but in my case, I started out in the industry too early, probably to get some sense of financial security, and uske baad I realized that okay, probably there is nothing else that I want to do for the rest of my life, and this is where, you know, I feel my most happiest or my most alive. But until Showtime happened, I didn't really understand the whole dhanda or maybe the maths part of it.
But box office obviously matters as well, right? It's similar.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't really understand. I mean, you can call it I don't know. Like, I still don't understand the whole math box office bit. For me, it's driven with passion. But yeah, to add to that, if you ask an actor what is it that they would like to do, everybody wants a bit of commerce and art, right? So it's a mix of both.
But for you, Rajeev, there's always been this whole TRP pressure because you were a part of television, and then of course there was box office as well in terms of the films that you've done. And I personally loved you in Soundtrack and Table Number 21, and now of course Showtime is OTT. How do you sort of, you know, weigh that for yourself as an actor?
What the medium?
The whole
pressure?
yeah, no, not that, but
Okay.
the number game specifically. Like, do you take it personally in terms of, oh, this matters to me, or are you somebody who's sort of more driven
I've
towards
been
your script?
far away from number game. You know, on television, I did not even know there was something called TRP back in the day. You don't know. I mean, you weren't approaching the scenes keeping the TRP in mind. You didn't even realize that G was so popular because you were always in the studios. You're shooting for it, and then suddenly you step out of the studio one day and you realize, oh, they know me. मैं interview लेने जाते हैं. The first one, I remember the first interview I gave, and the headline was there, and 3 महीने के अंदर मैंने इंटरव्यू भी ले लिया, and I sure मेरा लेना. All of that stuff happened, so you didn't realize it. So there was no pressure. The pressure started building up after a couple of projects when people started thinking that you are a good actor. Okay, so they think that you are a good actor while you're still honing your craft, you're still wanting to become a better actor. That is the time when the pressure builds up, not the box office numbers. Again, because the films that I picked up were never box office heavy. They were always films made in a certain content heavy, and the maths was done before I know that okay, we have spent this much, we're going to release it in these many theaters, the money is going to come back, it's safe. Now we are not going to take the risk of going all out and releasing it in maybe 1,000 screens. They wouldn't do that because they always knew that the film is in profit. So the producers were making the money, it wasn't loss making projects. So there was never any pressure. And as far as cinema dhanda nahi dharma hai mera, I think like Imran said, dhanda bhi hai, dharma bhi hai, because what is religion? Religion is your identity. So this is our identity. So this is religion for us. Only difference is I'm not a fanatic. I'm not a fanatic. I'm not overly religious, even though this is my religion.
Both of y'all, correct me if I'm wrong, the commonality that probably I've drawn between Rajeev, you and Emraan is that in an industry that sort of works on validation and relevance, the two of y'all don't really thrive on that. Y'all are not PR heavy people in terms of getting your spottings done or like having a mechanism out there. Individually as actors, how do you all sort of navigate and strike that balance between privacy and getting that kind of out there reach where others probably around you are doing certain things?
I think the terrain has changed drastically in the past probably 3-4 years with the entire thing of this validation through these multiple Instagram websites where you get this kind of stuff and people are splashed all over the place. I come from a time where you released films, you promoted it, and you went back and you went to the next film. But right now, because of social media, I think now it's become a construct, and people who are born into that, who have seen that as the ins and outs from the time where probably they were teens or whatever, I think for them it's a more it's a relatively current currency because that's the world they've always seen. For me, I know for a fact that if the film is good, if it speaks volumes, you don't need to constantly hammer that thing. Okay, first of all, I don't have some epic great like as in watchable private life where I would want. I have a bunch of people who are also very private who don't want to be splashed over pap sites. My wife, my dad, not connected to the film industry, so there's nothing to talk about beyond films. So all I can do is try to make sure I put all the effort into the material I give the audience and do something new and entertain them in those 2.5 hours to grab their attention. The rest of it is all fluff. I think ultimately you can do hundreds of PAPs, sightings, but if you don't have talent to back it, if you don't have a good film to back it, and a bit of luck that you can't really quantify, then none of this is going to work. All this obviously packs in and helps you as a foundation if you have a film coming out, and that already adds to the eyeballs and the buzz of something. Otherwise, you can't really function only on that.
To whatever Emraan said, I would only add this much, that there is also, it's not just about that how he approaches or how I approach my my public life. You know, I do not feel insecure about not being there every time. There's a lot of personality also. He as a person is not an exhibitionist. He would not just be a loud person. So there's a lot of personality trait also that goes into how you approach a career. If there is somebody who really wants to be seen all the time, you will see that in their personality. I as a person, I don't care. I mean, if I have to walk to my gym or if I have to pick up a bicycle to the gym, unless it's becoming too much of a trouble, I would do that. I won't think twice. I won't think that I need to be seen with two people. You know, दो तो bouncer होना चाहिए मेरे साथ में. Never ever thought. In fact, when I'm given people who to protect me, I always ask them कि भाई किससे बचाओगे मेरे को बताओ मुझे. And I was hosting. I remember this. I was hosting this सच का सामना स्टूडियो से मैं आपकी वैनिटी वैन से आपके स्टूडियो तक जाना आपको आप ही के लोग हैं. And there would be 4 guys waiting outside. And एक मैं बोला मैंने कहा भाई मुझे ना आप ही से डर लगता है आप जाइए ना यहाँ पे मेरा सेट है मेरे लोग हैं मुझे कौन पकड़ेगा. I don't like to be seen around with 4 or 5 people. So there's a lot of personality thing also that goes. And like his wife, I mean there's a lot of similarity. My wife also doesn't like at all. She likes living her life कि मुझे ऑटो लेना है तो मैं ऑटो में चली जाऊँगी मुझे ये करना है बस में चली जाऊँगी. I don't want to be seen. So there have been moments जहाँ पे I tell her that you know लोग सोचेंगे कुछ प्रॉब्लम हमारी लाइफ में कभी तो let's do a public appearance together. And she would say at the camera I don't want to do that. Very rarely you would see 2 of us on any public event that way. So there's a lot of I would say at least mine personality also that goes into it. It's not like कि conscious effort है कि हम ये नहीं करेंगे. I'm happy doing that. I'm happy not being seen. I'm happy not being discussed. That's me.
Mahima, I want to ask you this, one girl to another, and probably also something that's said in this show, and we probably might have heard it. I want to know if you've heard it, that ये industry लड़कियों के लिए नहीं है. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever been told things like these?
Of course, I mean, if it comes, yeah, like my mom was, you know, she in fact wanted to be a part of this industry, and obviously because of the background that we came from, restrictions, upbringing, culture, या जो भी आप बोलो, तब वो नहीं कर पाई, and she wanted me to live her dream. But I think जब आपको पता नहीं होता है किस तरह के लोग एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, एंड आई फील एज फार एज एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री इज कंसर्न, यू ओनली थिंक ऑफ एवरीबडी एज कि अच्छा यहाँ पे गंदा ही काम हो रहा होगा, यहाँ पे सिर्फ बुरे लोग हैं. आई फील दुनिया में बुरे अच्छे दोनों तरह के लोग हैं, एंड आई थिंक यू जस्ट फाइंड योर ट्राइब, यू फाइंड योर पीपल, एंड द पीपल दैट यू डोंट नेसेसरीली गेट अलॉन्ग विथ, यू जस्ट probably do your job, be a professional, and then go back home. But yeah, of course, बहुत लोगों ने मुझे out of concern बोला है that no, it's not. But it's been not only been run by men. You have seen both genders right from the beginning. But yeah, I think there are all kinds of people that exist in all kinds of industries.
So I'm going to drop the journalist hat over here and speak just primarily as a fan for both Rajeev and you, Emraan, as well. You've moved on. I've read your book as well, so there are certain parts of it that have stayed with me, some that I want to question you on. But I'm going to just basically overall ask certain things in terms of industry and collaborations and breakthroughs. While people do have their fallouts, they also reunite themselves as well at some point, and that's pretty much what we probably would see somewhere around in the show as well. Rajeev, for you, would you ever go back to television, pick up an Ekta Kapoor show? Would that ever be on the line, or an OTT, or a project? And Emraan, would we ever see you come back, do like a Mahesh Bhatt film again? Because your songs, those stories were something that still resonates more than the particular image that 5 people might talk to you about.
I never left television.
But you left it at a peak of your career,
Yeah, but
right?
I never left it. I never got anything that turned me on. I mean, after a point, I wasn't getting anything. So it's not like I left television for film. I was doing television. They were not offering me something good. So I said, all right, till the time you guys get me something which is exciting, I'll do something else which is on a different medium. And then somebody came up from OTT and said, this is what is more exciting. Then television came back to me and said, Sach ka samna we are offering you. Every time they've offered me something that has turned me on, I have been part of it. So there is no, so it's a myth. I don't know. It's just a perception that people think कि TV छोड़ दिया वापस जाएंगे क्या? अरे TV ने तो it's not easy to act on television.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's way more challenging.
Yeah,
Just आप दो ना कुछ ऐसा interesting हम करेंगे. And what else? So yeah, and about Ekta Kapoor, why not? She's a lovely woman. I mean, she's a great producer. We keep fighting. We keep having our huge things that happen on every project. I think we both have kind of sparred on almost every project of ours. And but I don't think that she lives with any malice towards me, or do I? Because I know that she as a person, she's a very professional person, and she won't hold her grudge, for me as an individual. Maybe as a professional, she may just think that you could have done this much more, and I would say no, I was expected to do this much. So whatever fights are very professional. I would definitely work with Ekta. Why not? And I'm sure we are going to work together again.
Hopefully, touch wood. I hope that happens. Emraan, what about you?
Well, I would love to. I think it's the whole team of Vishesh Films and the era that we had up till almost 2016. Super successful films, great songs. But I think I would definitely want to do something in that same light. It needs to be there in a new kind of mold. It needs to have another context to the current generation that watches films. I think the reason why I kind of took a departure from that also is because the audience's tastes also started changing. You can't really say, okay, give me more of the same and then go back to that, and then if I do something like that, people say, oh, that's a little regressive for these times. So I think it has to be, could be an old wine in a new bottle situation, but what that new bottle is, I'm not a filmmaker, I'm an actor. I react to the material that's in front of me. If they do come to me with material that's explosive, that I feel like it has all those ticks, why not? I would be foolish not to let it go. So.
I do get a sense that everybody over here is very secure because there are very solid parts that individually all of you all have, and it's an ensemble show, obviously, with a lot of actors here and there, who are very big names too. There's of course Nasiruddin Shah sir, there's Moni, there's Shreya, all of them. In a situation like that, has there ever been, not particularly this show, but otherwise, did you all have faced some sort of power struggle for screen time and screen space, and then how do you guys navigate that?
I mean, I've been blessed. Sorry. I've been blessed to work with people who are extremely, I think, confident and secure in themselves. Like I would take examples of people who are senior to me. I've worked with Ajay in almost 3-4 films, and there was never an issue. I mean, in scenes he was like, "Tu dialogue le le." it was like that. I mean, the same with Akshay. I mean, I'm taking these names because they're senior to me. Even for that matter, Salman.
Yeah.
I think in a film like Tiger, he gave me this screen space and most of the dialogues, Atish is mouthing his dialogues when my first scene with him is he's sitting tied down and, you know, I'm saying most of the lines. So I've never had that problem ever. And I've also been fortunate enough where I've worked with directors, I've put in the trust and faith in them, and I've got exactly what I thought I would. They've never let me down. What has been promised to me, probably the film, sometimes the film might not be able to be made. Sometimes it's just the function of filmmaking, and sometimes things don't go the way they're planned. But screen time, for what has been promised, that's always been delivered.
Mahima, what about you?
You know, in my case, when you don't really have like pool of opportunities, जब आपको एक opportunity मिलती है, and when a director like a Mahesh Manchikar tells you that, listen, it's a 15-minute part, but I need somebody who can act.
Yeah.
Can you do it for me? So I think it was a no-brainer situation for me. And even you know, जितना मैंने सुना, if I think I tried to probably hold my own, even it was a male dominant film. And at the end of the day, actors do get selfish when जब आप देखते हो edit के बाद या you know, film कि अच्छा हमारा part क्यों नहीं है. But I think it's the filmmaker who sees it from
the wider lens.
The wider lens, and they ultimately take the right call, I think. But yeah, it's something that I signed up for, at least as far as my first film was concerned.
So I've never actually faced any of these issues while working with co-actors who wanted to grab a little more, barring one. See, in television, it had reached a point where they were being very childlike, you know. So you would do a scene with a fellow actor, and then they would do something in the end. Once I go, that last line, I will just walk away with my punch. It used to happen.
It happened to me with two other senior actors in the same frame. It was the most funny. I won't give their names out, but the scene didn't end.
Yeah, exactly.
Veterans, and they were so insecure. It went on and on and on, and the director had to catch us. I said, "The scene isn't ending, man."
Yeah, so similar, so such thing was happening in television. He last में उन्होंने कोई बोला, and then he would do something or make an action, you know, that typical thing. But barring that one, and I can't name that person, but where I felt, why would you be so insecure? Why is the scene not starting with the regular way, the way scene should start? It just starts with your close-up. It starts with others, and then you go to the final close-up of the actor, and then you realize that, okay, so he's not reacting to what I said, and this is a different thing altogether. Only one instance, but then everybody around that actor was also helping him do that, so which is very sad. And then it just went on, and then you just become bystander, and you say, how I feel bad for you because you're so insecure about certain things. So it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen. But that's just one-off incident. Otherwise, I think I've worked with very, very good actors. Especially in this show, it was brilliant because I think whatever scenes I've been part of, मेरे साथ जितने scenes हैं, they've all been very organic, and we have improvised, be it with Imi or with Mahima or with Shreya. We've only improvised. I don't think we stuck to the lines. We did stick to the lines, but there was so much of improvisation that was happening, and that can only happen when actors are kind of secure. They know that this is what we need to achieve in this scene. So you know that this is what we need to achieve in the scene. We can't change the soul of the scene, and that's how we work. So yeah, most of the actors are very professional.
Lastly, before I wrap this up, like, we guys meet you guys pretty much off set. So this is like a personal space that I want to ask. Is like on set starry tantrums a real thing?
I mean, it is a real thing.
Yeah.
That's why the term tantrums, on-set tantrums.
On-set tantrums.
I've had some, people making some really crazy tantrums on a film set, but that's never gone down with my moral and ethical code on a film set. No, never.
But it is a real thing.
We're
agreeing to it.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen Showtime. I'm hoping that the next episodes also come out because we've only seen 4 yet. All the very best. Looking forward to what the ups and downs are going to be like. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
and
you.
I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
The best.